As you might already know, I tracked down a space object that landed on the beach. I took pictures and videos and drove home. When I got there, a man in a suit was already at my home. Ever since, I have seen surveillance vehicles outside my home. Yesterday, I decided to track down the vehicle after I saw it leave my place. The person driving the vehicle immediately noticed it was me, and began driving very quickly. Eventually, they stopped off at a nearby gas station, which is where I was able to catch up. I pulled up next to the vehicle. To my surprise, nobody was in the driver's seat. Did they move to the back of the vehicle so I couldn't see who it is? Eventually, it had been over an hour, so I decided to leave. Save this video just in case it gets removed.
Yes, duendes are very real. I unfortunately came across one, very persistent one, that was after my son, who was about 3 years old. At the time, I actually hadn't even heard of what a duende was, but my son would constantly complain about getting woken up in the middle of the night. He had this imaginary friend that he would always play with. I remember around this time, my son started really acting out, like big time. He would constantly blame it on his friend. His toys would go up missing. The list goes on and on. It didn't really hit me that it was something paranormal until I was in the basement one day doing laundry, and I found all of his toys in a perfect circle, like in one of the rooms of the basement. My son would have never gone down to the basement on his own. According to what I know, a duende will only show themselves to kids. An adult will most likely never really see them unless you catch them off guard. So after that happened, where I found out with the toys, I talked to my mom. My mom brought the idea that it sounded like a duende. I remember one night I was in the living room by myself, and I felt the presence of something there, and I knew it was something like malicious, like it wasn't like a regular spirit. So I called it out and I said, whoever you are, you need to show yourself in your real form, because of course he's not going to show himself to my son in his actual form. I remember I'm sitting on the couch, I look this way, and I see the most horrific looking elf looking thing like just hovered over, like staring at me. I actually did a story time on this a few months back, and this was a very, very specific photo that I was able to find of it, of what it looked like. The only difference that the duende that was bothering my son had like a hunchback. I mean, I could do a more detailed video talking about duendes, but they're very much real and they're hard to get rid of, but it is possible to get rid of them.
Here's why you should never stop for gas in the middle of the night. Back in 2016, an 18-year-old girl was just working the night shift at her part-time job. So she left work at around midnight and realized she was out of gas. So she was driving along and decided to pull into the first station that she saw and start to pump gas. The girl paid for her gas, but then she heard through the radio that the clerk said the payment didn't go through and she had to come inside. So the girl took her receipt and showed the clerk through the window, but he said, "No, come inside or I'm calling the cops." The girl said, "No, I'm leaving," until the man held a sign to the window that said, "Guy in your car." The girl was super confused until she looked in her car, and that's when she saw it. A creepy man had snuck into her car, so she bolted inside with the clerk. The clerk quickly locked the door and called the police. The clerk explained that while she was pumping gas, he saw on the security camera that the man snuck into the backseat of her car, and the clerk literally saved her life.
You just say hi, babies. They stay there. No, we don't hold these ones.
Real life inspirations for horror movies, Part 1. The Child's Play, or Chucky series, is about a creepy little doll that goes around killing people. But very few people know that the general premise of a haunted doll is actually based on a true story. Say hello to Robert the Doll. In 1903, Robert was given as a gift to a young boy named Eugene Otto by a vengeful servant who had previously worked for their family. However, this was no ordinary gift. It was a voodoo doll. Right off the bat, Eugene became enamored with Robert, carrying him around everywhere he went and talking about him as if he were actually alive. But when strange things started to happen, such as furniture being knocked over, toys getting ripped up, and terrifying cries coming from Eugene's room, despite him being fully asleep, Eugene's aunt suggested that they lock Robert away into the attic. They did, and that same night, she died in her sleep. Then, unsurprisingly, the Otto family decided to bring Robert back into Eugene's room. For the rest of Eugene's life, creepy things would still happen around Robert, and friends even claimed that he blinked and moved around the house. But despite this unnerving behavior, Robert and Eugene would remain friends until the end.
The Muffin Man, the Muffin Man, the Muffin Man. Oh, do you know the Muffin Man who lives
seen on the southern coast of Africa? Of course, residents in the surrounding town were aghast, believing they had found proof that extraterrestrial life had lived and died on planet Earth. It has to be alien, right? Well, not quite. A local veterinarian conducted an autopsy on the creature, and conclusively found out that the shriveled creature was a newborn female baboon. Dead and dried up, of course, but still a baboon. The tail-like appendage on its stomach was its
All hands hoist the colors high. Heave ho, thieves and beggars, never shall we die.
Step 1, you're hungry. Step 2, you went to the kitchen, but you found nothing. Step 3, you found a good idea, you will eat at the restaurant. Step 4, you're looking for an open restaurant at 2 a.m. Step 5, you found one. Step 6, order. Step 7, waiting. Step 8, the order is too late. Step 9, you call the employee, but he doesn't answer. Step 10, you're starting to worry you're entering the kitchen.
Wait, what is this?